Hey everybody, welcome to Sunday Slowdown at J&J Acres, and thank you for your understanding that this is a pre-recorded episode. We told you before in the last two episodes that we wanted to make sure we were spending time with our kids on Christmas Day, and so because of that we're actually recording this ahead of time. Several days ahead of time, and we're kind of doing some different things today. We told the kids that we'd leave the door open and they could come be a part of this and talk to everybody, tell a story, whatever they wanted to do. So it's going to be a completely different format. We'll talk a little bit still about some YouTube things, but I thought we would talk today about just stories, just tell some stories. I've always had a lot of good feedback from everybody about how you like to just come sit around the fire with us and have a chat. And so that's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about things that we remember from past Christmases, even some before Jennifer and I ever even met. So at least I know I've got a story or two to share. So, yes, baby.
Alpha's not in his room, and he says go away when I'm allowed to watch him if he's not in his room.
Your brother told you to go away?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me something else I haven't heard. Well, alright folks, so we hope you are having a good Christmas or whatever celebration you're having this time of year. Let's see here. Let's do our normal thing and talk a little bit about what was on YouTube since you last saw us. So, since you last saw us, you saw a Crazy Coon compilation. You know, I get a lot of videos, and I only share a couple of them with you each week, and I've started to get a lot of certain animals. So, you know, we got one of a fox, but I had dozens of ones with raccoons, and so I thought it'd be fun just to show you all the different things the raccoons were doing in just a nice quiet little video. So there's really not too much history to share about that video, but it has sparked some discussion. People were mentioning in the comments and things about catching coon to eat coon and things like that. And you know, the general feeling most people have is there's nothing really wrong with it. The taste is fine. It's the grease.
And there was a lot of grease in the one we ate.
Yeah. But I do think that there's probably something to be said about when you eat it. I think if you know, like most animals have a bigger layer of fat in the winter. But by the time spring comes around, their body's used up that fat. So I wonder if maybe in springtime it has a different taste to it, or maybe less of the greasiness to it because they've eaten up or used up those fatty stores.
At the same time, though, if you're hunting for the fur in the first place and the meat is just the byproduct of that, then the fur is better in the winter.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
All right, let me see here. You also have seen part 2 of the greenhouse preparation, and I'm sure a lot of people got overwhelmed from that video, mostly in part because I probably didn't do a very good job explaining everything. I had discovered what I wanted to do and realized that I needed to show everybody what I did, but didn't really know how to compile that into a concise, easy to follow how-to type of video. So I hope it made some sense to you. The general idea is I'm not trying to make a greenhouse that is the most efficient, hottest thing it can be, because that's actually a negative here where I live. I don't want it to get as hot as it could be, because even in the winter, in my climate, it's going to burn everything up. So what I want to do is have solid roofs that I can insulate so it doesn't get too hot at any time of the year, or even get too cold. It'll work both ways, like insulation always does. It'll help me keep it cooler in the summer and help keep it warmer in the winter. And still, because of the way I'm doing that double window, the big front window and then that little second level window, I can still get full light in through the whole winter, all the way to the back wall, 6 feet up the back wall. but I needed to try to find a way to explain to everybody how I came up with that, how I did the math, and how it makes sense. So I hope that it made some level of sense, and I hope that if it didn't, you'll take the time to go to that video and say, Jared, I didn't understand this part, and I can always film a follow-up. So let me know. But that is how the greenhouse is going to be designed. And I think there's a design for a house called a salt box or something like that, and it's kind of somewhat similar to that design. But anyway, check it out and see how we're going to do it. The other positive about doing it this way is working with these pre-framed heavy windows. All I have to do is erect a vertical wall and then put beams in for where the windows are going to go. So I just have to space it out. I don't have to worry about how I'm going to hang them at any kind of an angle with all that. So anyway. Alright, and the other video you saw since we last met was the raised garden beds, the first actual part of that. And the first part of that is doing some preparation. So that was, if you look real close at that video, I didn't explain it too well, but on the step side of things, the steps were an afterthought, kind of an afterthought. They were the second stage of the build, and I wasn't thinking when I built the deck on how I was going to build the stairs. So the support poles on the deck are a bit recessed, whereas the ones on the stairs, on the landing for the stairs, are all the way to the edge. Well, so now that I'm trying to put up a backboard for these raised beds, I had a problem. On the stair side of things, that board was nice and flush because I had those... You being silly. Go ahead, you can copy me. I had the board nice and flush up against the stairs, but going towards the house, the boards weren't flush with the support beams for the stairs. So I had to put in some extra support beams to hold up that piece of wood. Now I could have made those support beams just as tall as the raised bed, but in my mind, if I'm going to put in some kind of a support beam, why not support it all the way up to the deck and just add extra supports to the deck? All it was going to cost me was another 3 feet worth of a 4x4. So that's what we ended up doing. Alright, well that kind of catches us up. Next week you're going to see a video for the garden beds where you see the backboards. So now that we have the support beams put into place, we're going to put in the backboards for the raised bed garden. So come and see how we do that. But otherwise, I don't think I've got anything else scheduled right now. It's a nice quiet time, and not really busting my butt during the holidays to try to pump out videos, and spending more time with these little ones and Mrs. Claus over there. So you can come in anytime, Brandon. Don't stand at the door. Either come in or stay away. Oh, but. So.
I like standing at the door.
This is awesome.
I wanted to take some time today and talk to you guys about past stories of holidays. So I've been talking for the first 10-15 minutes here. Why don't you tell us something?
Hi. Done.
You don't have a story to share?
Hi.
Not yet.
Not yet? Okay, fine.
That's her story. Nothing.
Well, alright. Well, I will build off of something from that Holly Jolly Christmas video. One of the questions in there was, have you ever had a white Christmas? Well, I want to tell you about another white Christmas that I had. And it was a good one in the sense of happy feelings and family, but it was a terrible one because of the weather. So this is when I lived in Williamsburg, Virginia. My parents had a house that was about 3 or 4 blocks away from what was what's considered colonial Williamsburg. And as it happened, we had a horrific ice storm right before Christmas. And I guess anybody that's lived any place or that has ever been affected by ice knows how bad ice is. Ice is the worst thing in the world. You'd rather get 6 feet of snow than a 1/4 inch of ice.
Unless it's a unicorn.
because all that ice does, if you're not familiar with it, is it weighs down on trees and power lines. It makes them so heavy that they crack and break, and just everything goes bad. And as typically happens, this I don't remember the statistics. I was probably 16 at the time. The ice storm was so bad that we ended up being without power for about a week, right over Christmas. And I think the power went out Christmas Eve morning, the morning of Christmas Eve, and then it was just gone. Now in this house, my bedroom was actually a room that was built into the attic. So, I mean, it had heating and cooling and all that kind of stuff, but it was a chilly part of the house, which is normally good for me. I love cold weather, but it was particularly cold. Well, the reason I wanted to talk to you about this is because it's one of my fondest memories with my mom. My mom and I both loved winter. We loved snow, and ice is pretty. It just does a lot of damage. And I remember my mom and I getting out on the street, and we walked all the way to and down Duke of Gloucester Street, which is the road going through Colonial Williamsburg. It's essentially Main Street in a common town these days. It's the main road going down the center of Colonial Williamsburg. And we walked all the way down that, and through the entire walk, we were having to avoid trees because as we were walking, either something was melting just enough and ice would fall, or a branch would finally give and branches would fall. But nobody else was dumb enough to be out there except me and my mom. And so it was just peaceful, and everything covered in snow, everything covered in ice. It was dead quiet except for a few tweets of a few birds and the occasional ice falling. And it was really cool. And we walked there. There was a I don't know if it's still there, so I'm going to say there was, and there may still be a nice garden area back behind what's called the governor's mansion. It's not where the current governor is. It's where the governor in Williamsburg at the time would have been. And we went back there, and the ponds are frozen over, and I think there's probably only make a ½ inch of snow, but there was ice everywhere. And it was just like it was like staring into a frozen snow globe, where everything was just coated, and it all just looked like a painting, and it was still. And you know how it is when it's cold. The air is just more still. It really is. And there was just something about it. It was like every second was a different snapshot. And it was just an amazing thing. And but that was one of those funny little Christmases where it was like the best and the worst all bundled into one, because it was bitter stinking cold. We didn't have a generator. Everything in the house was electric. Power was out, so there was no heat, no fireplace, nothing. It was just pile under as many blankets as you can stand, and good luck.
We'll power through.
And then of course, I'm a teenager at the time, so I don't really remember, but I wager probably all my gifts were electronic.
Probably.
So
especially knowing you.
Yeah. So, on one hand, it felt like the worst possible thing for Christmas, but because of that one experience, we probably spent 2 hours outside taking that walk. But I think it's just one of those Christmas memories I'll take to the grave with me.
Woohoo!
So.
That sounds awesome.
Well, I don't have anything that spectacular to share.
Just whatever.
And, well, I know.
Okay.
I know all of the reindeers. Blitzen.
You're a goofball.
You want to name them all now, huh? Couldn't remember them all before?
Not?
So, I don't have anything as spectacular to share, but I grew up in California. California generally doesn't get any snow, so I've never actually had a white Christmas, though I do know what snow looks like, because we've had snow several times here in Mississippi, definitely in Colorado, And
Where
we
did
took
I
a-
go?
took a trip up to Big Bear a couple of times to see snow. But my Christmas memory that stands out the most is actually spread across several different Christmases, where it was a tradition of my father's to cut down our Christmas tree every year. And he would take my brother and I every single year. There were a few years where my mom came with us as well to Christmas tree farms, and you would go through and you would pick out the perfect Christmas tree, and it was a big deal. And everyone that came had to agree on the Christmas tree. Of course, my dad was looking for height, and my mom was looking for fullness, but my brother and I were just all excited that we got to go pick out this Christmas tree, and we had a say in the Christmas tree that got brought home that year.
Yeah.
And at the very front of a Christmas tree farm, they always give you this hacksaw
Right.
to cut through a stump that's usually about that big.
Right. Yeah.
And he would take that hacksaw and give it to the youngest person first. And you go ahead and sit there and you cut this tree down.
Mhm.
And as soon as the youngest one quit, which was always my brother, then I would get it.
Yeah.
And it was always my goal, I gotta
Finish
cut
it.
this tree down. I gotta finish this
I'm
tree.
gonna do it.
And
Do it.
it wasn't until I was a teenager where I was able to finish it up. But there were a couple of years where, and then, you know, they'd load it into the back of my dad's truck and we'd take it home. And usually by that time it was dark and there's still work to do. He's got to saw off about that much of the stump and to make sure that it fit inside the little dish that they that you buy, and cut off the limbs to make sure that it would fit into that dish, and make sure that there were no bugs or dead limbs or anything inside of it, and just pretty much clean up the tree and then drag it inside. And it was the night of the year that we always stayed up the latest.
Yeah.
Because he would always do it the week before Christmas so that the tree didn't die, so it wasn't a fire hazard.
Right.
And we would stay up and we would fully decorate the tree that night.
Okay.
So
That sounds like a lot of fun.
it was.
The snow you were talking about earlier, the few times we've had snow here, there was only one time when it snowed really good.
That was 6 years ago.
Yeah, that was the one time.
That was very pretty. I think we had ice right before that.
Yeah.
And that was part of what helped the snow stick.
The whole property was covered in snow, and Daddy had this big beard. The biggest.
What do you remember about it?
I had a big beard.
Big
I believe
as
the birds
the
that would
house.
fly from tree to tree, the entire flock of birds that was just in our front yard the few days after the snow, they would just fly between
Oh,
trees.
Those were looking for the berries in the cedar trees.
Our cars were very messy after that.
Yeah.
The cedar waxwings or cedar
Yeah.
something.
Cedar waxwings, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
It's the best snow that I have ever seen.
Leah, what do you remember the most about Christmas? Now you're going to stop talking.
Been interrupted this whole time, and now you can't tell us.
Maybe soon we'll all get a nice white
Snow?
When
You've
did
never
you ever
seen
see
snow.
Christmas.
The last time it snowed was 2 years before you were born.
And anywhere before that, it's just little flakes in the sky. Now it's stuck to the ground, all mucky, cold,
What,
and
what are you
wet.
hoping Santa brings you this year?
You don't know?
a stare.
Cat.
A
A
cat?
toy
Oh, no.
cat.
A toy
okay.
cat? What color did you want that toy cat to be?
Pink.
Pink?
Oh,
Pink
purple.
cat. That's
I
it.
thought you wanted black.
A pink panther.
No, that was
Pink
Kaylin that
panther.
wanted black.
That was Kaylin.
Purple. I
Purple.
don't care
A
if it's
pink
pink
or
or purple.
purple
We
cat.
can get her
You're a
a pink cat. We can
goofball.
get her the pink panther.
Don't talk over everybody, Brandon.
Sorry.
Well, I can also tell you what the worst Christmas I had was.
What?
And I don't know if my dad knows that this ever happened.
Hmm.
There was a time when my family's lived all over. This was when we lived in upstate New York. We lived outside of a town called Binghamton, New York. And unless you're from New York, upstate New York ain't as far upstate as you might think it is. It basically just means you don't live in New York City in the Long Island area. Let's see, that would have been around somewhere between 4th and 6th grade. Somewhere in there. I remember, my parents were never, I don't know what the right word for this is. Everything in the house was open. There wasn't don't go in mommy and daddy's room, don't go into the den or whatever else.
But at the same time, you were raised like an only child.
Well, that's true. But I was also expected to behave in those rooms.
Yeah.
If I did something wrong or got into something I wasn't supposed to.
You were the only one that could be blamed.
Right, but just being in the room wasn't going to get me in trouble. Well, I remember one Christmas. Of course, I'm so young, I'm not thinking about, hey, I need to make sure I give privacy, especially at this time of year. I went into my parents' bedroom and all of my Christmas presents were laying out on their floor.
Oh.
No.
And it was like 2 days before Christmas, and apparently it was time to get to wrapping. And I opened it up, and I just, probably about 3/4 of my Christmas presents, when I unwrapped them, I had already seen them. And it was just, because, you're a kid, it's the surprise.
Yeah.
They're like, oh,
that really
Even
gets you
as an
excited.
adult, it's the
Oh, yeah.
surprise. That's the reason why I keep telling the kids, I don't care if you know what my present is. Don't tell me. I
Yeah.
don't want to know.
Yeah.
You're just like, what is it? What is it? Oh my God!
But it was quite a quick and hard lesson on learning about, just because you're allowed into rooms or whatever. I wouldn't have been in trouble for having opened the door or going into their bedroom because I'm allowed in their bedroom.
Right.
It would have just been wrong time of year. It's like asking for something and your birthday's a week away.
Yeah.
You just know it's bad taste.
Yeah. Well, we have generally the same policy with our kids. They're allowed in basically any room as long as they've got a reason for being in there.
Yeah.
But they also know that certain
Catch you snooping around in my personal drawer.
or the closet.
Right.
Well, this year I think every single one of the kids knows all their presents are in the closet.
Yeah.
So
You can ruin it quick.
yes, they could. But
Are you
they
done a
don't.
little bit? Bye. Love you.
And she disappeared. And then there were 3.
But
So what do you like the most about Christmas?
Waking up really early in the morning, finding it that you still wake up.
You
before
can't be
so
awake.
we have to tell that story then.
Yeah, because that's not even on.
Okay, so
is it?
here is when I learned that this is how my wife was. Okay, I learned this, and let's see here. Now we would have had 1, 2, 3. Okay, so Brandon was born in Colorado.
Yes.
I don't remember you doing this at all in Colorado. I'm sure you did, but
I did.
I don't remember it.
Okay.
I remember when we moved to Mississippi, we were renting a small single-wide trailer,
Uh-huh.
and you woke me up. And the reason this sticks in my head so much is because now Brandon's old enough that Brandon should have been the first one up.
Should have.
You expect him to be the first one up.
Yeah.
You can see this if you go search for. There's a funny video with Tracy. Tracy did this funny thing when she was really young. I called it roll a Tracy. There's a little, I don't know if you wouldn't call it a nursery rhyme. What would you call it? A funny little kid's song that my mom sung.
Roll a bob and roll a bob and pull. Clap, clap, clap.
And
Always.
She
do that.
loved it.
oh yeah.
She do it to me all
Tracy
the time.
loved it, and so she did this. She would run up to me, and I would lay her down on the ground.
She was like a year and a half old.
Yeah, and I would roll her across the ground, and I'd say, roll, roll, roll it, Tracy. And she would just giggle her head off, stand up, run back over to me, and she'd lay down on the ground again. Roll me again, Daddy, roll me again.
Now, we did that for like a half an hour before I finally pulled out the camera and shot
she'd just do it over and over again.
The couple of minutes that are on YouTube.
Well, anyway, so this is that kind of time frame in our life. So what that would have been 2006 or so.
Let's see. Tracy was born in 05, so it would have been about 2007.
Okay. Yeah, it makes sense. So Brandon would have been 5.
Mm-hmm.
So you're expecting a 5-year-old to not sleep and want to be up and whatever else. Well, what ended up happening is my wife wakes me up probably like 2 a.m. as far as I know.
It's closer to 5. It's usually about 4:30, 5 o'clock when I'll finally give up trying to sleep.
Well, she wakes me up. You want to do something? What do you want to do?
She wants to mope.
What do you want to do?
I want to watch Arthur, but he won't let me.
Well, you go tell Arthur Daddy says to let you watch, okay?
Okay.
Her brother's playing a video game, and he's being snobby and not letting her watch her and play the video game.
Boy.
Anyway, she wakes me up. Have I said that enough times yet?
Yes, like, I don't have enough fingers to count how many times you've said it.
We go into the front room. This trailer was set up with 2 bedrooms, ours on one end, the second bedroom on the far end, so opposite ends of the trailer. And the living room was next to the kids' bedroom. So Jennifer takes me down to the living room. We sit in the living room, and she takes we wait. In fairness to you, we waited.
Yes,
we sat there on the couch and waited for Brandon to wake up. And after, I don't know what the actual minutes were, but after a little while, she turned on some music, turned on some Christmas music, and after a little bit, turned it up a little bit. And still, nobody coming out of their bedroom. This woman takes a tennis ball.
Yeah.
And she's sitting on the couch with the kids' wall right there, 5 feet away. And she's bouncing a tennis ball.
It got annoying really quick.
I was trying to wake them up!
She threw it against the wall. I start to wake up and I hear
Like you remember.
Yeah, no kidding.
So, but that is who I'm dealing with here. That is when it really sunk in that I was never going to sleep in on a Christmas day for the rest of my life.
Guilty.
Hi, Kayla. You want to say hi?
Hi!
You tell everybody what your favorite thing about Christmas is?
Turkey!
Turkey.
I'm pretty sure that's what she said in the other video too.
Probably.
Turkey.
Turkey.
We weren't just talking. So food and eating turkey that's the best thing in the whole world?
Not presents and Santa and decorating the tree and...
Fire.
Daddy being home from work?
And decoration and Daddy's home.
So everything.
And
okay.
turkey.
And Daddy's home.
And turkey.
And turkey. You're the turkey.
What does a turkey sound like? See? Proved it.
Tell everybody what happened to your neck.
Stardust scratched it.
We have not yet learned that we are not supposed to pick up Mommy's kitties.
Yeah.
Or mine. Mine gets very...
Is it feeling better
No,
today?
it doesn't hate you. It hates being picked up.
Yeah.
Oh, good. So, I don't know if anything's different about how you guys are. There is a benefit to it. One thing I will say is that for the last 12 years, I've been able to see the look on my kids' faces when they first wake up on Christmas morning. And I imagine that's a lot more pleasant of a thing than having kids jumping on your bed like they like to try to show on TV. You know, wake up, mommy, wake up, daddy.
Well, now it's gotten to the point with the kids older, you know, you and I will sit out in front of the tree and exchange our own personal gifts and wait for the kids to actually wake up, because usually messing around in the kitchen making coffee will start waking them up.
Yeah, and we got, Brandon's a pretty heavy sleeper, and we've got a couple other kids that are very light sleepers, so we get somebody out there fairly early now.
And they'll usually trickle in, and as soon as a child trickles in, it's allowed to go under the tree and start looking at its presents. So,
well, usually they first go for their stocking.
Yeah.
And go from there, but...
Any presents that Santa might have left unwrapped under the tree.
I was surprised. Last year I was the first one up. That surprised me. I'm usually either the last one or next to last.
Well, you were the first child.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you another funny story, something I remember. There was a time where my family was living in North Carolina. Lived out in a little town called Wendell, North Carolina, outside, probably about a half hour away from Raleigh or so. And the only thing I remember about that Christmas, this part of the story that's sticking out on my mind, is Christmas was done. We had Christmas morning. Everything had been cleaned up. Everything had been put away. Everything that I had found its place, and I was just playing with one thing at a time. And it wasn't until supper time when all of a sudden my mom realized that they had hid a gift in the fireplace, and it was a jacket. It was a Dallas Cowboy jacket, which
Cool.
I don't even remember if I liked the Cowboys or they were just the in team at the time. But I just remember it was a jacket. But I thought that was funny that my parents had put a present someplace and they forgot about it. But,
At least they didn't light it on fire.
yeah, thank
That would
goodness.
have been a problem.
But
Just like, okay, let's light a fire.
My dad used to hide things in the tree all the time.
we've done that a couple times to each other.
Yeah.
Like letters.
If you've got a little gift that's about the size of an ornament,
Right
it's
in the
nice
tree.
to go fetch.
So we were also talking before about traditions. And I honestly can't remember if I ever opened up a present on Christmas Eve. Now, you've made that be a standard thing for our family. I go along with it, though my opinion is, why in the world would you want kids to get riled up about something? You're running into two possibilities. Only two. Either the kids get so excited about what present they got, now it's even harder to get them to sleep on Christmas Eve. Or they're so upset about what present they opened that they're going to bed grouchy on Christmas Eve.
Which is usually the reason why I try to orchestrate which present they open.
Yeah. And it's not usually, so what I'm trying to get at here is the kids are really never upset about getting something, but, maybe one child opens up a present and it is a toy they can play with right now. And then the next kid opens up something and it's a really nice outfit. And oh great, they get a toy to play with and I've got clothes.
Right.
Clothes are awesome.
Clothes they'd have been happy with Christmas morning, but right now that kid got a toy and I'm stuck with this one present. I can't see anything else until tomorrow.
Right.
But you're right. And usually, I think here lately, haven't we kind of made them stick with the presents they got for each other?
Yeah.
So normally we go to the dollar store.
Or if we got them pajamas.
Yeah.
There's been a few times we've gotten them pajamas for Christmas that we let them open that one the night before so they could go to sleep in snuggly pajamas.
Then
That's
we wake
true.
up all warm and cozy and open presents.
I think one year it was a blanket. Each one of them got blankets.
My snow
got
blanket's still in
polka
my room.
So I think that's kind of interesting to talk about that. It's interesting that there's things that we've done over the year to make the dollar stretch. Okay, I can think of times where you go to the store and you buy one box, but in that box there's a set of things.
Yeah.
And we've taken this item and wrapped it, and that item and wrapped that, and one box bought from the store turns into 3 or 4 gifts.
Yeah.
So the
In
child
one big-
gets to open up more
Or
things.
there's 5 of them, and we've purposefully done this. There's
Yeah.
5 of something in a box, and we split it between all 5 of the kids.
Yeah. And then what I was saying just a minute ago, we take the kids to the dollar store, and they're allowed to buy a gift for each of their brothers and sisters.
A gift for each of us.
Yeah.
And then there's a short list of other people that they're allowed to buy for if they find something.
Yeah.
And so that, but what's nice about that is, generally speaking, everybody's tickled about what they got. It doesn't matter that it was a dollar gift.
And it teaches the kids the joy of giving.
Yeah, they like, and the older they get, the more thoughtful they get about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not just, you know, like one of the girls seeing something that they would like and saying, oh, well then, you know, like Tracy seeing something she would like and saying, oh, well, I would like that. I'm a girl and so's Kaylin. I'm going to get that for Kaylin.
Right.
But over the years, it goes into no, Kaylin's into this.
Yeah.
Let me find this for Kaylin. And then they start, you know, even expanding, getting away from the toy aisle and going over to the coloring books or to the stationery or to the whatever and looking for things there. So it's kind of neat to see how that evolves over
In
time.
fact, while we were doing that up until my father passed away a couple years ago, Brandon was even thoughtful enough to remember he was getting my dad little nutcrackers.
Oh, yeah.
And he was getting thoughtful enough that every year he would get a different one of those nutcrackers in the set.
Yeah. Not get the same thing over and over, but stick on a theme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he loved
nutcrackers. He did.
He had a lot of nutcrackers.
In fact, I still have them.
Do you really?
Yeah.
We have quite a
They're
lot
out
of them.
too.
I'm gonna go this way too.
Bye.
I'll be back.
Okay, Kaylin, it's your show. Take it away. What are we going to talk about?
Silly.
Do you have a Christmas that you remember? Is there a story you remember about a Christmas?
I know a part.
What?
Santa left Papa unwrapped.
What?
Santa left Papa unwrapped under the Christmas tree.
Santa left Papa unwrapped?
Unwrapped.
Oh, Papa, your stuffed animal.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So she's got a stuffed animal. What is it, a bear or a...
Bear.
It's a bear. And she named it Papa after my dad. And Santa doesn't usually wrap presents because he's a very busy guy. So that's what she's talking about. Papa was unwrapped under the tree.
But these are the nutcrackers that Brandon got my father 3 years running just before he passed away.
Yep.
And they're just little $1
Yeah.
nutcrackers.
Just to look at.
They look very cool.
It's
a Shannon.
Yeah.
Oh, and there she is.
Come here, puppy.
Shannon, over here.
Say hello,
Shannon's in the
Shannon.
video now.
This is my retired service puppy.
We are now talking about dog.
Here's a good puppy.
She's very happy.
She's about 10 years old now, huh?
like, I'm the
So I had started wanting to talk about traditions. So that was a tradition that you kind of brought into the family, because I can't remember if I ever did that or not. It sounds familiar, but I don't have any memories of it. But then on my side, a tradition that I remember my mother doing
The pillowcases.
was the pillowcases. And so my mom was born in Batley, England. And I don't really know if this was a family tradition. What?
I can see your foot in the video.
Oh, so what? Let them see it. Hello.
Hey, Daddy, no feet on the table.
We are
Down.
chillaxing.
No, feet off the table. Daddy.
I don't know if this is a family tradition or if this is a British thing or what. I really don't know. But the idea behind it was on Christmas Eve, the children take their pillowcases and put them out near the Christmas tree. And Santa would fill the pillowcase with everything that the child has been dreaming about. So I mean, you still had a stocking, but usually, so with me growing up, my stocking would normally have
Candy.
it would have candy in it. I remember getting the orange. I think that's a pretty British thing. But it would usually have some stationery, kind of, some pens or pencils and things,
Chapsticks.
little things like that.
Maybe little
But there wouldn't
puzzles.
be toys. Toys would go in the pillowcase. And that's not to say, that would be the only thing that was from Santa, was only what would fit in a pillowcase. But that was how that was done, and so that's something that we've done with our children over the years, is do the pillowcase, because I think it makes a lot more sense, or there's a more fun behind the concept of let your dreams come to life than just, hey, look, somebody stuffed your socks. So
Put your socks over the fire.
but so that was a tradition, and then another thing that we. And this is kind of hard of a thing to try to do here, and I have looked this year, and none of the stores are carrying them. But the crackers.
Yeah, we can't find them very much.
If you're not familiar with them, they're these party crackers, and meaning you crack them apart. They're poppers. And on the inside, there are little novelty toys and jokes and a crown that you can wear and whatever else. And again, a very British thing.
Now, I do know that when we were living in Colorado, your mom used to get your sister to order them from a store in England and have them shipped over.
Yeah. And my family's lived in a couple places where there were British stores where you could go get all of the brand names that you were used to having when you from England.
I know every time Annette's gone up to New York, she's come back with everything that your mom wanted from these stores.
Yeah.
And chocolates and dots.
Things that you just cannot buy locally.
Exactly.
Of course, everything's changed over the last 10, 15 years. You can order anything you want from anywhere with a click of a mouse.
This is true if you're willing to pay the shipping.
Yeah. But that is another tradition. So, I mean, what traditions do you remember doing as a kid, or anything else that you kind of brought into the...
Blueberry muffins.
Oh, yeah, those are the best muffins.
My mom used to make blueberry muffins every single morning for Christmas. I tell you, it is the easiest thing to do. You just buy a box or two of blueberry muffin mix from the grocery store, and then the morning of, I make blueberry muffins. I'm up to making 24 blueberry muffins on Christmas morning, and then...
Eat them all day.
Yeah, we eat them all day. I'll butter the top so that you've got that butter flavor on them as soon as they come out of the oven, and then there's no restrictions to it. They just
eat the muffin.
There's no restrictions on eating
Everybody
muffins all day, and literally Christmas Day is a munch day, because I've moved Christmas dinner to Christmas Eve,
which I think was great. That was probably one of the best decisions, because we did for a few years try to do Christmas dinner on Christmas.
And I never got to enjoy my presents because I was too busy in the kitchen.
And nobody wanted to sit down and enjoy a meal as a family because they're too busy interested with whatever distractions they got.
Let alone the fact that I don't sleep on Christmas Eve, so I usually end up taking a pretty sizable nap Christmas afternoon.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah.
Hello again, little ones.
So,
They're back. Run.
Yeah, so we do our Christmas dinner actually on Christmas Eve. That way everybody can actually calm down and enjoy a meal together as a family. You're not having to cook on Christmas Day.
And then all day Christmas Day, we don't plan any meals, and everyone just grazes.
C'est la vie.
We eat leftovers, we eat English muffins, we eat whatever presents or came out of stockings or whatever, and
we just enjoy.
Make sure there's plenty of munchies in the house.
Yeah, usually a popcorn tin.
We just enjoy the day. That's all there is to it.
What else? Did you guys do anything else?
Got silent. Too silent.
It was distracting.
A little bit.
No.
I'll leave the one, okay?
Yay.
There you go.
It gets to be in the video.
You have one. Well, my father liked nutcrackers. He did collect the nutcrackers while he was in California. And even though he had to leave all those nutcrackers behind in California, he started recollecting when he got out here.
Pat, pat.
How about favorite presents? I've got a favorite present right behind Brandon.
Oh, yeah? Okay, what was your favorite gift on Christmas?
This is the best.
Watch out, baby. He's on.
Yeah.
Turned him on before the show.
That is a Thomas Kincaid special snow globe that I got for Christmas a couple of years ago from my husband.
Doesn't it have your name on the naughty list?
It does have my name on the naughty list.
Yeah, Santa's holding a list right there, and it has her name on the naughty list.
I had to pay
See?
Thomas Kincaid a lot extra for
See?
that customization. Thank you very much.
See, it's right
Yeah.
down in there.
It's very small writing, so it's not easy to see, especially with my eyes.
But yeah,
It was me.
you're not on here.
Oh, I guess Leah's nice. Maybe. Maybe there's just one half of the list.
Please move.
My name's on the naughty list.
Well, you're definitely
I
throwing
would
me off
agree.
my game because I don't remember things in that way. I can't tell you what my favorite Christmas present was. I don't,
Okay.
because I don't really remember. Did I get that for a birthday? Did I get that for Christmas? Was that a just because I love you gift? Or so I can't really call that out. I really can't.
Daddy.
Couldn't possibly tell
Can
you.
you put it
What?
down,
Daddy on the
please?
left.
No.
Thank you. How about you, Brandon? Do you have a favorite Christmas gift that you got?
Thinking.
He got thinking for Christmas. I think we screwed up somewhere.
That was
Having
that
problems
book.
with it.
That was that book. Everything you need to know,
Yeah.
or how everything is made, or whatever.
How everything is made.
Yeah, something like
It's
that.
about 5 years ago, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
You missed. I take it you haven't read it yet.
No, I've read some of it. Thinking I've got a
Give me the
lot of
nutcracker.
really good. My
Rabbit ears.
sword. I love my sword. The
You got
Zelda
that last
sword.
year, right?
Yeah, I love that sword.
Yeah.
I can bring it in here to show it.
If you want.
Give me a second. I gotta go take it off the wall and everything.
He has to go do it. Stand by, drama.
Drama. Drama.
So what's your favorite Christmas present that you got?
Papa.
Your stuffed animal, Papa?
Yes.
Please don't play with that. It's very fragile, okay?
Okay.
Why do you like Papa so much?
Because he's so cozy.
He's cozy. You
Yeah.
like snuggling up with him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like my teddy bear that I named Hot Chocolate because it looks like hot
My girls
chocolate.
need their hair brushed badly.
Well,
It came with the strap too, but that'll take forever.
it's
to get.
past their bedtime, so they're supposed to be rough looking.
Whee! I hung this on my wall. It's not. It's just for display, but it's really cool. I love it a lot.
Cool.
It has broken once here, but we fixed that. But it's awesome.
That's when it was proved to you that it's for display only, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oops.
Leah, do you have a favorite Christmas present?
My bear.
Your bear, the one you just got?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who gave you that bear?
Grandma Carol.
Yeah. We sent her a thank you video, didn't we?
Yes.
Yes.
And a bunch of little who named what. Who named which what name.
So if that doesn't make sense to you, Grandma Carol lives a few states away, and when she sent her big box, she said, "Oh, go ahead and open it now."
Yeah.
And so we went ahead and opened it right away, and she got a big bear. That thing's as big as you, isn't it?
Yeah, it is literally the size of her.
I'm
Stand it
bigger
up and
than
it could be
that
her
teddy.
best friend.
I'm bigger than that teddy.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
There was a stocking on the bear full of candy. Get it out!
You know, there was a tradition my mom had, and it passed away with her, as far as I know. Um, there was a time where my mom or one of my sisters would orchestrate a phone call to each of my sisters, and of course I was with my mom still.
I think we spent every married Christmas with her.
Probably so. My sisters are all at least 17 years older than I am, so in case that doesn't make sense the way I'm trying to explain this. I think it was Christmas Eve. They called everybody.
So, what do you want?
Stand by while we have a discussion.
We
Sorry.
are having some technical difficulties.
What do you want? Is it bedtime?
Lullaby.
She wants to be on the Wii.
No, not past bedtime.
It's bedtime. If you don't want to be in here anymore, you can go get ready for bed. Bye-bye.
Go brush your teeth and brush your hair. Well, she's pouting. Anyway, we would all get on the telephone together. So one way or another, however they did the three-way calling or whatever it took to get three of my sisters and my parents and I on the phone. And Christmas Eve, everybody would light a candle at the same time. And it was a way of everybody, even though we were spread across the United States, of doing something together at the same time. And usually there was a family prayer at the same time. And it was just something to try to bring us all together, even though we weren't physically together.
Because we were all in different states. Utah, Colorado, here in
New
Mississippi, New York.
Yep.
Good heavens,
All
you're
over
just
the
all
place.
over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Stanley's we will spread out and
But
conquer.
It kind of just one of those things, though, that makes me, it kind of reinforces the idea that really it's family. You know, it's a good time of the year to make sure that you're still grounded, thinking about family.
Why don't you go brush your hair and your teeth and get ready for bed?
Love you. You put some more medicine on that too, okay?
Okay.
Love you. Good night. Oh, let's see. Are there any other? What's wrong? Oh, you missed one.
They're back.
Well, you brushed the front of your hair. Go see if maybe Kayla can help you reach the back. Okay? Look at this.
What's the?
Oh, wound up kids.
What are we gonna do?
They were supposed to be in bed, what, a half hour ago?
Dad attacked me.
Maybe you should go put that back now.
Yes, definitely.
Absolutely.
Well, I don't know. Was it a tradition with you? Okay, when did the train first become a thing? Did I do that, or I don't know?
I love trains. I love Christmas trains most of all. I had a Christmas train around the foot of my tree when I was a kid. But when we had Brandon's first Christmas, we realized that a train around the bottom of the tree was not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was handsy with everything.
Mm-hmm.
And we were walking through a store. I don't remember which store it was.
It was a grocery store, so I don't even remember the name of it, out in Colorado.
And I spotted a train that goes halfway up the tree, which means it is out of reach of everyone under the age of 10 years old.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And so we got that one.
Uh-huh. And it lasted for a good long while.
I would have to say, we've been married almost 15 years. And
it lasted for probably 10. Because when it broke, we went 2 years without having one.
And then on a whim, I every year I would check.
Yeah.
and try to find another mid-tree train.
And no one else had one.
Because by being about 12 years into it, 10 years into it, it had started to become tradition. The tree had to have the train around it.
Exactly.
And but we couldn't find one, and still had young ones, so didn't want to put one around the bottom of the tree.
Right. Let alone the cats.
Well, yeah. And but then one year I did a search, and I don't know what about it did what, but I came across an old, like a cached website for Cracker Barrel, saying that they had one. But if you went to just whatever it is, crackerbarrel.com, and tried to search their store, it wasn't there.
It wouldn't pull up.
And so I decided one time, of course, I had been to all the stores.
Right. Been to our local Cracker Barrel and been to all the stores.
No, I hadn't.
Okay.
I had been to all the typical department
outlets.
Stores.
Yeah.
So I had been to the Sam's, even though I don't have a Sam's Club membership.
I brushed the front.
Okay. Good night, baby. Sleep well.
I'm going to brush the front.
Oh, now she's going to go brush the teeth. You guys got the report. She brushed the front. Now she's brushed the back. Now she's going to go brush her teeth.
Report complete.
All right. So I had been to Sam's. I had been to the Walmart. I had been to Sears and JCPenney's and Dillard's and all those other kind of mall stores and whatever else, and nobody had one.
We'd even checked Hobby Lobby and Joann Fabrics.
Yeah. But then I saw that thing, and of course, when I found it on a cash website, but then I couldn't find it on their regular website, I had all but blown it out of my mind. Like, well, whatever. Okay, fine. They used to sell it, and now they don't. Well, one day, driving into town, as you go from our home into the nearest town, Cracker Barrel's right there at the first exit.
Screaming your name.
and I just said, why? At least stop thinking about it. Get it out of my mind. It's not there. And I opened up. You all know how, if you ever been to a Cracker Barrel, it's got that little breezeway. So you open up one door, and then there's another door 4 foot in. And I opened up that first door. I stepped in the breezeway, and I looked through the door, and right there on the floor was the train set.
Like,
and I asked the lady about it, and if I remember right, she told me they had just got them in the week before, and she had been working there for like 4 years, and she doesn't remember them ever having them before that.
That's nuts.
So their website was making it look like they used to have it, but didn't have it anymore. But according to the 4-year veteran at Cracker Barrel, they just got them in just before Christmas, and because this was, I think when I found it, it was like 2 or 3 days before Christmas.
Yeah.
But anyway, but now we've got that one.
Yep.
And so it goes up there, and it's a fun little thing. You push a button, and the choo-choo train makes it all aboard, and it puts and puts around and goes around the tree, and you put vegetable oil in it, and it spits out steam and whatever else. So it's a fun little thing, and after you've heard it about a half dozen times, you're like, okay, done.
But the tree, it's got to be around the tree, though. It's got to be sitting up there, even if you don't push the button.
Yep.
It has to.
So I'm trying to think what other kind of things are staples of our Christmas. There's one I've been avoiding. What one were you about to mention?
Bring me Jingle.
Oh, I love
Jingle.
that dog. That is the best.
Jingle comes out Christmas Eve, and my little bits can't figure out how he works. But Christmas Eve, we read to the kids night before Christmas, and Jingle talks to them.
Yep.
I know how it works, but it's still really cool.
Yep, that's a pretty good staple, and we do usually read the night before Christmas. Usually.
But Jingle sits up on Jared's dresser all year round, just to make sure that he stays safe. Yeah, just to make sure he stays safe all through the year.
our storage is our shed, and back here is 7 acres. Anything going into the shed is susceptible to a mouse finding its way in.
And we don't need a mouse getting a hold of Jingle.
Yeah, we don't keep him away from that.
You could put him back.
When you're done putting that back, will you help your sisters get to bed in a more timely manner?
Yeah.
Thank you. Less loudly?
Yep.
All right, so the one I've kind of been avoiding, because I have latent anger about it, is my mom's Santa Claus.
Mm.
If I remember my story properly, from the day my mother was born, because my mom was born December 18th, she had a little tiny Santa. It's a bobber. Yeah, it's got a rounded, weighted bottom, and you can like tip it one way or the other, and it always bobs back up. That's been under her Christmas tree. So from her very first, good night. You've said good night already. Okay. Good night. Okay. Good night. So not just her first birthday, but her literal birthday. Y'all following me here? So it was always under the Christmas tree. Always, always, always made a big deal that Mom's Santa Claus was under the Christmas tree. Well, then my mom passed away about 6 years ago, and my dad moved away short time after that, and he kept up the tradition and was putting Mom's Santa under his tree. And then after a couple years, he decided that, Brandon was growing up and whatever, and in order to make sure that it was a tradition that stayed strong, that it was time for me to take that up. And
Santa came home with us from our visit last year at Thanksgiving.
And so Santa is now our thing, and to get passed down to Brandon at some point. Because not just is Brandon our oldest, but was also glued to the hip to Nana. Mm-hmm. So it would have a more of an emotional attachment to him to have something from Nana at Christmas. And then, of course, can't have anything nice. Somebody cracked Santa. Now we still have him, but he needs repair. Mm-hmm.
And him being plastic polymer, we're not exactly sure on how. Without hurting him further.
Yeah, I mean, I could probably, and probably will, take super glue to him and try to do something at some point, but right now all of his pieces are consolidated into a bag, and I say all of his pieces, it's not like he's
like
Humpty Dumpty into
pieces.
it. Yeah, it's, 80 or 75-80% of them is whole, and then there is a hole. And nobody, if anybody knows how it happened, nobody's telling.
They're blaming the puppy.
Yeah, that's
not Shannon, the puppy we had at the time.
Yeah, but either way, but that's a tradition, and even if he's not 100% intact, he will remain a tradition. So at one point, I'll tell you something. If y'all know something about this, if you're still listening to us rambling all this time, I had at one point thought about having him encased in resin. Mm-hmm. How I say encased in resin. You've seen something like that before where somebody takes some kind of nostalgia and it gets completely encased in some kind of plasticky type of material, clear.
So it can never get broken again.
Yeah, because, it wasn't a tradition that it got played with or anything.
No, it just sat underneath the tree.
It could bobble, but the general rule was don't touch.
Yeah.
So, if it could be made to look whole and then cast inside of something where it could be visible, I had thought about doing that, and I have found some do-it-yourself kind of kits online, but it means too much to me for me to screw it up.
Yeah.
And once you start on something like that, it's done.
Yeah.
So I would rather pay out of pocket and have somebody do that for us, and know it's going to come back looking crisp and clean and last forever, than for me to start doing something and I tip something or it falls over and big mess and not centered or whatever else. And I don't want to sit there and make a cube for this thing to sit in, and come to find out that when you set the cube down, Santa's looking at like a 30-degree angle. I want it to look right.
Yeah.
So anyway, if you know anything about that kind of a thing, or how even to find somebody that does that kind of thing, because I don't even know what to search for.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to call it. So, but anyway, that's a tradition that's been around for a long time. We do the Christmas topper. That's got passed down to Brandon.
Well, so has putting together the Christmas tree.
I've done that how many years?
This would make the 4th year, I think.
Yeah.
Well,
3rd or 4th.
I think the 2nd all by himself.
Did
Yeah,
really?
I started doing it by myself 2 years ago.
Yeah, he's been helping me for the last 3 or 4 years, but I only remember
The last 2 years.
Yeah,
And
so
this year.
this would have been the third. This would be the 3rd year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where he put it together all by himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
That includes taking it out of the shed and bringing it into the house.
Yeah.
Oh, that tree is heavy.
Yeah, was it 7.5 foot tall?
Yes, it
And
goes
it's-
to our
With
roof.
the tree topper, it's at the top, and when we went from a real tree to a fake tree, my only condition was it had to actually look like a real tree.
Uh-huh.
And then we sent the entire room in the tree with pine. You actually found pine sticks
Yeah.
that we hang inside the tree.
Yeah, you hang them up like ornaments inside the tree, and it just
It must
It
look
smells like
Puts out
a
an
Christmas
aroma.
tree.
look like chopped pine.
act real.
What else? Can you think of anything else that we do as a general?
Well, there's specific ornaments that go in the tree.
Yeah.
Nana's,
There's the ornament. Yeah, Nana's ornament goes on the tree now ever since she passed.
It will almost. It might always be either the first or the absolute last one that goes on the top of the tree, other than the topper.
It's usually the last ornament to go on the tree. Usually because we want to get the kids, okay, stop fooling around with the tree. We're putting on the crystal memorial ornament for Nana, and
The
Or
very
how about
special
this one? We've got like 6 different stockings for everyone currently over the age of 8.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we like having matching stockings.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And we
then
have
kept
5
having
children.
kids.
So every time we'd go back to find the matching stocking for the new child, they no longer
changed
made
the
those
design.
stockings.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
So I can't even remember what the current ones look like.
And then we went like at least 3 years of not having matching stockings. And then 2 years ago, the ones that we found, they're white
Oh yeah, with the letters.
with the letters on
That's
them. Well, I think we found those at Target
Don't we have like different
down
colors?
in Hattiesburg.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Like
Yeah.
your guys' are white and we have red and green with the
No, I
names on
think
them.
that's one
That
of the
was a
ones that one of the
previous
previous
series.
ones.
Previous series.
The
But yeah, because
series
at one
of
time we
stockings.
tried doing something themed.
Yeah.
Like at one point we had all Winnie the Pooh character ones, and
Yeah.
then we ended up having more members in the family than they made different
I
stockings.
think they only made like 4 designs of that. I think
Yeah.
that was just Brandon and Tracy, you and me.
And then like I like the ones that looked like they were needlepoint. But you keep running into these maximums. It's like usually there's a series of 5
Right,
or
exactly.
something. Or sometimes you can get, I don't know. It's just, you don't find 7 good individual ones and be able to separate them into a mom and a dad and 3 that work for girls and 2 that look good for boys and whatever else. You just end up going, okay, initials.
Yeah. So that's what we ended up doing. They're solid white. They've got the initial on each one of them. And I think we bought ones for your dad and his wife.
If you say so.
I think so. Because they spent Christmas with us 2 years ago.
Yeah.
This sneaky one was calling on Daddy.
Hi, Milky Way.
Woo, woo, my arm.
Watch those claws.
And my necklace.
Well, can y'all think
Yeah.
anything else you want to talk about before we close it out?
My tradition of getting you silly pants.
Yeah, you all saw in the Holly Jolly Christmas the most tacky outfit. We don't have silly Christmas sweaters or anything like that. But what is traditional is for Daddy to get silly pants. And what we mean by silly pants is they're the fuzzy flannel kind of pants, the pajama pants, and usually something that is silly on them. And
Like
sometimes
trees
it
and snowmen.
right. I mean sometimes it's just
Smarties, candy.
yeah, it's Smarty candies one year. I've had one that said, well, like when we first got married, I used to drink Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
You got me Mountain Dew ones one year.
Mountain Dew.
Then I've got some that just have like pine trees and moons on them. You know, so silly is it's silly
It's a
to get me the
misnomer.
gift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's getting
Awesome.
harder and harder to find them.
Yeah.
And harder to find good quality ones too.
Good quality ones or ones that aren't, or at least of either a neutral or at least still a tasteful subject. 'Cause
Yeah.
I've seen them before, but they're basically beer commercials or something like
Or
that.
SpongeBob.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
No.
So,
Kill it with fire.
but I'm sure there's more, and I'm sure you guys all have lots of little things too. And really, it comes to a point where it's so much of a tradition. A lot of this stuff we just do out of habit, and
Yeah.
it just gets done, and you don't even really think about it. It just happens.
You having to have socks every year for Christmas.
Yeah.
We must
Always.
get him socks or he will explode.
I've gotten to the point where I hide the sock present under the tree, and he's got to go find them
And that's
because he knows it's going to be there.
that's my family doing their diligence of keeping up something my mom used to do. That was just a thing. I got socks for Christmas. And for my birthday. My birthday's in July. And so I would get
Every
socks.
6 months.
I would get socks for my birthday and for Christmas without fail from my mom. And so when my mom passed away, Jennifer took up the cause and make sure that I still get socks for Christmas and my birthday. And I like it just fine. So
Perfect cycle every 6 months.
works out good for me. Anything else? All right. Y'all, seriously, we really do hope that you're enjoying a wonderful Christmas holiday season with your families. Or if you're even by yourself, that it's just a peaceful one and that you can find joy in something about it. We're still thinking about what we're going to do for New Year's. We're halfway planning on coming in here and shooting the video live, and half thought about, is it going to be too busy of a day? So we'll see how things go. But as things stand right this minute, we'll be back to our regularly scheduled live program here next Sunday. So thank you all so much for watching.
We'll see you
See you
next
next
time.
Bye.